Good evening, good evening. We have about 45 seconds. I don't know who I was logging in tonight. This is the first night one. Good evening, Sister Thompson. All right, good evening, everybody. Sierra and Sister Thompson and Makia. This is Professor King or Dr. King, however you want to call it. Tonight we will be discussing, and do me a favor, y'all, keep your microphones and your cameras off in case unless you need to talk to me, because it'll help with the bandwidth, so it won't be, disconnecting. Hopefully it won't disconnect at all tonight, but we'll see. But let's get started. Tonight we're going to be talking about filling out college applications and FAFSA forms. So let me get that loaded up for you and get the presentation started. All right. Whoa. Hold on, y'all. My mouse is being super sensitive. I'm internet unstable. So if it disconnects, it'll come back and just keep it going. But completing a college application and completing a FAFSA application form. Hey, Sheila. Oh, and if you guys look in the chat box, please type your names in there. And then for the links that I'm going to present in here tonight, they are all listed in the chat box as well, except for the FAFSA and the TASFA forms, because those do not open up until October. But the links are there for you, and I'll give you all time, to write those down and everything, and I can email the presentation to you and all of that. But if you need any of the links, they're in the chat box already. The survey form to complete after the survey is finished or during the survey, make sure you click on that before I end the presentation, so it'll open up in a browser box so you can get that completed. And I'll tell you the information to put in there as well. Application and completing a FAFSA application. Oh, that is hard to say. My apologies. Okay, who am I? As I say every presentation, I have to let you know who I am. So personally, I am Dr. Bridget King. I am a 34-year resident of Duncanville, Texas. I have lived in the 800 link community for 18 years, and I am a wife. Fortunately, I am a graduate of Duncanville High School. I have an associate's degree in liberal arts, which I realized a while back that I had not added to my list, so I added it this week. My associate's degree, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master's degree in organizational management, and an education doctorate in, and I consider myself a servant leader. So my servant leadership roles are 25 plus years working in corporate America in various industries, 12 teaching business, management, leadership, human resources, social sciences, humanities, motivation, and professional development courses. I am a 12-year girls nation. 12 years working as a parent volunteer for Duncanville ISD. I have served as president and vice president of Duncanville PTA. I've served in various roles for various sports leagues in the area, and I am currently a volunteer deputy registrar for the Dallas County Elections Department. I tend to keep myself busy. And who is this presentation for? Hold on, I got some extra boxes popping up. I need to move around. Oh, I'm sorry, what community pillars does this, TI Communities Pillars does this presentation focus on? The first one, as always, will be education, and the second one, most often, is community building. Hold on, you guys, I have marks popping across my screen. I hope y'all don't see them. Give me just a second. Undo. Okay, oh well, they won't go away, and I can't make them go away, so I'm not going to worry about it. But My little Bitmoji thing, teacher Bitmoji screen. These are the Texas schools. There are 120 colleges and universities and community campuses in state of Texas. This is to Houston, UT Dallas, East Texas Baptist, Paul Quinn, University of Dallas, Jarvis Christian College, North Texas, UT Austin. There are just a few on here. This is just a small number of them, but I just want to highlight, we're going to be discussing how to fill out a college application form for whether or not you're in the state of Texas or not, but some of the information will apply because I know that information. Who does this presentation benefit? This presentation benefits all U.S. high school students who will be considered first-time 2- or 4-year undergraduate college students at the time of applying, as well as their parents. It is also beneficial information for those adults who have never attended college and will be considered first-time 2- or 4-year undergraduate college students as well. And then it says the focus is only on applying for an academic admissions decision. I will not be discussing athletic scholarships in this presentation. That's next week. So this is only on the academic side of getting into a college or university. And it says this presentation will outline the steps to searching for colleges, what information needs to be notated for each college, and how to complete an application, as well as a FAFSA or TASFA form. And we'll find out the differences in those in just a sec. The college search. Have you started your college search? Number one, the first thing that you have to do is determine what you would like to major in. You, not your parents, not your cousins, not your best friend, not your boyfriend, not your girlfriend, but you. Determine what you would like to major in college. The second step is to search for colleges that have that degree plan, that major, degree plan and major, but you can do a Google search or, whatever type of search, but find the colleges, and you can just Google colleges that have whatever, say chemistry, colleges that have chemistry degree plans or chemistry majors. It'll pull up all the colleges in the United States, and for some internet, how deep search gets, and it'll show you all the colleges that have that major. Or you can pull up the top 10 colleges you can, search how you want to, but first, you do a search for the colleges that have that degree plan. Then once you find and get that information, pick 10 colleges, and I'll tell you why 10 in just a second. But your first 3 should be your dream college or university. These are the ones that you may have made into. The requirements are a little high. There's a lot of hoops you may have to jump through. Fine, pick 3 of those into. These are the ones that because of your GPA, because of your class rank, because of things that you do, that if you apply, you can get into these colleges. And then the final 2 of those 10 are going to be fallback colleges. These are going to be like your community colleges or your colleges where, colleges are, unfortunately, that's the society we live in. So find 2 colleges that, if all else fails and those other 8 choices fall through, that these are 2 that you can get into, no problem. And as I say, consider community colleges in your area that have your degree plan as well. When considering colleges and universities, consider things such as location. Find out where this place is. Just don't go on name. Find out where it is. Diversity. How diverse is the campus? How diverse is where it is? The location and diversity kind of go hand in hand. Find out the area that the college sits in. You have, for most part, most colleges are built on the low income side of town for tax purposes. That's just the reality of the matter. But there are some colleges that sit out in the middle of nowhere. Prairie View is one of them. So, location and diversity. The diverse population of what's at the campus and what lives around the campus. And then how far is this college or university from home? How far do you have to travel? How far does mom and dad have to get to you if something happens? Consider that as well. And then cost. How much does it cost? And you would do this for all 10 colleges. Those are things that you must consider. And I'll show you, I think it's my next slide, show you the things that you need to be notating. But those are the main ones: where it is located, the diversity of the population of the campus and the city that it's in, the distance this campus is from home, and the cost. And when I say cost, I mean tuition, fees, room and board, all of that. Find out how much it costs for 1 year, and we'll get to that in just a second. And then for, you know, for so many, they will factor in like family legacies. There are some kids whose families have all gone to, you know, everybody in the family has gone to Grambling, or everybody in the family has gone to UT Austin, you know, everybody in the family has gone to University of Cincinnati. You know, those are things for a lot of kids and seniors that have to be factored in, because, you know, mom and dad and grandpa expect you to go to the family university. You know, that's the legacy. And the next thing are extracurricular activities available. I mean, you do want to have fun while you're there, so find out what's, you know, what's offered for you to be able to do outside of going to class. And you will spend at least 2 to 4 years of, in college at a minimum. I'm sorry, not a maximum, but at a minimum. You know, even if you're just working on a 2-year certificate or a 2-year associate's degree, but most degrees are going to take you a minimum of 4 years for a bachelor's. It's going to take you 6 years for a master's, 6 to 8 years for a master's. Well, an extra 10 years. So 4 years for a bachelor, the next 2 to 4 years to complete a master's, and then anywhere from the next 4 to 7 years after that to complete a doctorate. So what's that, 2 to 9, 10, 12, 15 years, you know? My math is not real good right now. I'm very caffeinated, but you're gonna spend a minimum of 2 to 4 years in college. So what you wanna do is find a college or a university that will satisfy your academic needs. Outside of, you know, the extracurricular activities, out of that, all of that's fine, but at the very basic level of everything, you need to find a university or college with your major that is going to satisfy your academic needs. If all else fails, will you be able to stay at this college or university to complete your degree? And then here we go. Information to notate when you are searching for colleges. There are 2 stable, so if it disconnects, I'll wait till it reconnects and we'll restart it on this, where I left off, in other words, on this screen. But the 2 most important questions are, does the school have your exact major of choice? Let's go with chemistry, or let's go with engineering, you know, or chemical engineering, because that's what we're doing with my daughter. There are some schools that have a chemistry degree, and there are some schools that have engineering, but they may not have chemical engineering. They have biomedical engineering, which is really, in all intents and purposes, a chemistry degree as well, because you take several chemistry classes. So if you want to be a chemistry major, but they do not necessarily have a flat out chemistry degree program, find out what the equivalents are. You know, is it biomedical engineering? Is it just medical engineering? You know, go into the science side and find out what other degrees they have, because you still may want to go to this school, but they may not have your exact major of choice. So are you willing to find an equivalent major to work on if they don't? So you kind of have 2 things working here. Say you want to go to a specific school, but they may not have your exact major. Are you willing to compromise and find an equivalent major? That's something that you have to think about. But the things that you need to notate, take a sheet of paper when you're researching each college. You have 10 colleges, you have at least 10 pieces of paper. The first is the date that the applications to the college can be submitted, admissions applications. What is the first date that you can submit a college application? The second thing, what are the application submission deadline dates? If they have more than one admissions decision program, and we'll talk about that in just a second. And then what are any associated late fees if you submit after the deadline date? And then this also applies to specific degree programs, because for some universities, there may be one, you know, overall application submission deadline date, but say you're trying to get in, say, the College of Engineering or the College of Social Sciences. That College of Social Sciences or College of Engineering may have their own deadline date for applications if you want to, you know, pursue a degree for that college. So, and when I say the College of Engineering, let's say UT Dallas. UT Dallas has the Eric Johnson College of Computer Science and Engineering. So UTD may have an overall application deadline for, let's say, early admissions, early termination, that's December 1st. But the Eric Johnson College of Computer Science and Engineering may have another deadline, which is probably going to be earlier than that December 1st. And that's what you want to know. So once you determine your major and determine your college, look at the submission origination date, which is the first date you can submit, and then the deadline date, but also find out for your degree program, is there a specific date that you have to have that application submitted by? And a lot of times it will be before the overall deadline date. And then what are the methods to submit an application? We'll discuss those in a minute. Most often there are like 2 or 3 ways that you can submit a college application. Back in the day, we had to, download the application or go, request from the university for an application. Now, basically everything is done online unless you just want to write. But there are different methods that you can submit your application. So you need to figure out what those are. And then the date of acceptances, what date do they announce who's accepted to the university? We were looking yesterday, and the University of Cincinnati, for example, does a UC decision day. So although they are accepting applications now for early determination, they are not going to announce those early determination acceptances until late January. So if the school that you're applying to has something like a decision day or acceptance notification day, find out what that date is too, so you're not driving yourself nuts waiting on an acceptance letter. Number 5, know whether that university accepts fee waivers. If you are on free and reduced lunch, or your child is on free and reduced lunch, and they take the SAT, what happens is, when your parents or you sign up to get free and reduced lunch through your school district, what happens is that information goes to College Board. College Board are the people who administer the SAT test and the PSAT test and do the National Merit Scholarship, all of that. Everybody but the ACT. ACT has their own stuff. But College Board are the ones who issue the fee waivers, and the fee waivers can be used to both take the SAT for free. They'll give you so many numbers of SAT tests that you can take for free. They'll give you a code, but then that code also can be used, and they'll tell you how many college applications that you can submit and not have to pay a college application fee. College application fees are expensive. They roughly range and start at $50 and can go up as high as $150, $175. Most that I've seen are $55, $75, and $100. But what you want to know is that school on your list of 10, how many of those schools accept fee waivers? Some accept them and some do not, and you want to know that. And then number 6, what information is required to be submitted with that application? Are you going to need letters of recommendation? Are you going to need to submit an essay? Are you going to need to submit a personal statement form? Do you need to submit a resume with it? Do you need to do a portfolio? And your portfolios are normally what you submit, like when you're working on some type of graphics, graphics design, culinary, those type of degrees. They want to see a portfolio of your work. If you're an artist, if you're a visual artist, if you're, video graphics, computer aided design, that's where you would submit a portfolio. Things of that nature. You want to find out what, in addition to just that application, needs to be submitted. And you want to do that ahead of time, because letters of recommendation, you have to find people to do those. And a lot of times it's going to be a teacher, or it's going to be a counselor, and you have to coordinate with them to get those things done and submit it before the deadline date. So you want to know what additional information is required to be submitted with the application. Number 7, know if there are any additional forms that must be submitted for the specific department that houses your major. So like for us, example, does the Eric Johnson School of Engineering require that any additional forms be submitted? College applications can be 30 pages long, so you just have to find out what additional forms other than that application have to be submitted. And if there are any additional forms because of the major you're choosing, are there any forms that have to be submitted? Example, TCU requires you to submit if you've had any instances of academic dishonesty while in high school. They want to know that. Number 8, whether the school offers any scholarships or grants of their own from alumni and partner corporations and companies, as well as those requirements and submission deadline dates. So just about, and I for everyone that I've seen, all the colleges and universities that we have been researching, they all have their own academic scholarships, and they're basically, most of them are based on merit, rank, GPA, that type of thing. Some are based on socioeconomic status, the whole free and reduced lunch, thing. If you don't know, apply to get free and reduced lunch from school. You just may get it. Just try. All they can do is tell you no, but it will help you in the long run if you are applying to colleges, because if you are getting free lunch pretty much gets you to apply for everything. you know, scholarships, merit scholarships, or, you know, try, you know, sign up and get your parents to sign you up for free and reduced lunch with the district, with your district. And you just may get it. All they can do is tell you no. But if they tell you yes, there's a world of opportunities that come with having free and reduced status on your student account for your high school when you're applying to colleges and universities. We'll discuss that in a little bit as well. Number 9, the types of admissions decisions that the college or universities offer. We're going to talk about that in a second. Number 10, what the admissions department places importance on in their decisions. I had this conversation earlier. A lot of schools are not requiring the SAT or ACT be submitted. They're optional. Some are. There are very few that are still requiring students to submit SAT or ACT scores, but for the most part, some are not requiring it at all, and some are making it optional. However, if you're not doing it at all and you're not, you know, you choose not to submit it, even if you did take it, they are putting more emphasis on your GPA and your class rank. And then they also want to know what types of classes did you take? How many AP classes did you take? How many pre-AP classes did you take? How many dual credit, dual enrollment classes did you take? So if you're not going to submit SAT and ACT scores, then you need to make sure that your high school transcript is on point with those classes. Number 10, the cost of 1-year tuition, room, board, and fees. You want to know what that is, and you'll find that like numbers 1 through, that's 10, 11, and 12. I have 2 10s. Look at there. Numbers 1 through 10, you're going to find every college has an admissions page. That's going to tell you everything you'll find. 1 through 10 is going to be on that admissions page. Number 11, which is what that's supposed to be, the cost of 1-year tuition, room, board, and fees. That'll be on like the college bursar page, or you can do a search on it within the college page for tuition, and all of that stuff will come out, and you can find out what the tuition was for last year, what they're projecting the tuition to be for the class of 2021, 2022, which is y'all's first freshman year. So you can find that information out, but you want to know what that is. They'll tell you how much their dorms are. They'll tell you how much their meal plans are. You just have to add that stuff together. You'll find out what that is for cost of 1 year to attend that college or university of your choice. And then you find out what the school's FAFSA submission deadline is, and we'll discuss that in just a sec as well. Okay, what are the types of college applications? So once you figured out where you want to go, you have your 10 list, you know, your list of 10, and then you've researched these colleges. And remember, I told you, you have to find out what methods can be used to submit the applications. Well, here are those methods. So the first method, most colleges have their own individual college and university application. They all have it, but they're kind of trying to streamline everything. So there are some universities that do not use the ones below this, and they're going to want you to fill out their own application. It's just an option. You can either get it online, or you can request they send you a paper version in the mail, or you can print it off. The second one, there are state applications, and for the state of Texas, that is the applytexas.org website. Apply Texas is normally for all public Texas colleges and universities, and you can go on there. That's going to be your University of Texas systems. That's going to be your A&Ms. That's going to be TCU. You'll use Apply Texas, even though TCU is private, but it's still a Texas college. So most of your Texas public and some private colleges and universities all use the applytexas.org site. The common application, that's more national. You're going to see that, you know, other universities, and there are some Texas, like you can apply to UTD with the Apply Texas or the Common App. So there are different, you know, universities use different ones, and it's really for efficiency purposes. You always want to have more than one way for students to apply to come to your school. The Common Black College application, this is for your historically Black colleges and universities, and it's just like the Common application, but it's for your HBCUs. All your HBCUs are the majority, I can't say all, but the majority of your HBCUs are listed. You pay $20 right now that you can apply to every university that's on that list for one amount. That's completely different from the college application, the Common application, because you can't do that, but you can do it with the Common Black College application. The Coalition application, to me, is the biggest one, and it's a lot more detailed, but the Coalition is the one you're going to see for your Ivy Leagues and your big large universities that have been around for hundreds of years, they are all using the coalition application. So when you're researching your colleges, find out which one of these are, you know, how many of these that you can use to submit your application. And even before you decide to start your application, go in and create a profile for yourself. And then once you create that profile and then you narrow your list down, then you can go in and start applying to the individual colleges that way. And then QuestBridge, National College Match, I found that a couple of weeks ago. I had never heard of that until a couple of weeks ago. It is a college and scholarship matching service for kids that have really good grades, really good GPAs, really good class ranks. They're trying to go to the best of the best, the Stanfords, the Columbias, the Vanderbilts, you know, those type of schools, Brown, Yale, Harvard. That's what QuestBridge is for. I thought it could be used to match for any school, but it's not. They only have certain colleges and universities that they match for. But so, you know, QuestBridge is an option if you're looking to attend. And I would suggest that you go to all of these, you know, and see what's out there, and see, you know, what partner universities they're using that you can apply to. But QuestBridge, that's, you know, that there are quite a few on there, but they only go for maybe, I think it's maybe 30 or 40 certain universities. The rest of them, there are hundreds of universities on theirs. But the QuestBridge one, they are very specific as to who you can apply for, and these are mostly full scholarships. So QuestBridge, you have to make sure that you really research their website and realize it's not for, you know, those are scholarships that are not for any college. It's just for the colleges that are partnering with them on their website. And then what information what information is needed to complete any college information. So regardless to which one of those application forms that you use, you're pretty much going to need this information for everyone. And it's a pretty extensive list. It's 2 pages, and we're going to go through each one. I'm looking at my time to see where I am. All right. The first thing you're going to need is the high school seniors information or the adults information. That's your legal name on your social security card, and we'll be specific about that in a second when we start talking about FAFSA. Your date of birth, the student's social security number, their gender, their place of birth, and their citizenship designation. That's the personal information. The next thing is going to be needed is the contact information, physical address, and then a mailing address if your mail doesn't go to your physical address where you live. You're going to need an email address and a phone number. You're also going to need residency information, and the residency information is used to determine whether you will be paying in-state or out-of-state tuition at the university that you apply for. They'll ask you a series of questions, and after you answer those questions, it'll let you know whether they're going to consider you as an in-state student or an out-of-state student. And then for high school seniors, the determination of whether the student received free or reduced lunch while in high school and at the time that you're applying. Like I said, for some of these applications, you're also applying for merit scholarships through that university, and that application is also being used as that scholarship information. So they're going to want to know at the time of this, as you are applying right now, are you considered to be receiving free or reduced lunch? And it's basically a yes or no. Yes, it's going to open up some other opportunities for you. No, you just keep going. Next thing, they're going to want to know your parent or guardian's names and contact information. If you are considered either emancipated or something like that, then there's something else you're going to have to do there. But for the average application, you're going to need either your parents or guardians, grandparents, whatever, names and contact information. You're going to need their residency information and education attainment level. They want to know that. Don't know why, but they do. They're going to want to know your parent, guardian's annual salary information, and that's kind of used for the ones that are also using the application as a scholarship application, because it's going to go hand in hand with your FAFSA that we'll get to in just a bit. They're also going to want to know your high school name, the address of the high school, and what grade you are in at the time of applying. There are some schools that you can apply at the end of your junior year. There are some that you can even apply the summer before your senior year, but they're going to want to know what grade are you going into, or what grade are you currently in, and it'll be specific. What grade are you currently in? What grade are you going into? And you just let them know either junior or senior, because you probably will not be applying for college your sophomore year. And then you're gonna need your high school transcript. And if you are applying early, give me a chat. No, Sheila, we are on the slide that says what information is needed to complete any college application. I'm just going down the list. Are you on that slide?
Nope.
Oh, hold on, y'all. My apologies. For some reason, the screen sharing stopped sliding. What's the last thing y'all heard or last thing y'all saw? Did y'all see the, hold on, let me restart. Let me go back. That's the slide I'm on right there. Did y'all see the slide that had the list of the applications? Somebody, yes or no? Talk to me.
No.
I'm not going to start over. I'm just trying to figure out where to start. Y'all didn't see the application. For some reason, it stopped sharing. I'm not sure what happened there. Let's start back on it.
We saw had the double tens.
The double. Oh, okay. So that was okay. That was the one here. We're doing good. I wasn't at first, so we're on the next one. So this is the okay. So the information that you need to notate. So one, what are the types of applications? Let's go there since you guys did not see this. I apologize. I had no idea that the screen stopped sharing. So thank y'all for telling me that, because the first application type is the individual college or university application, and you can get that in print or online. That just means that the university has their own application. You don't have to use any of these ones up under. The second type is the state application, and for the state of Texas, that is the applytexas.org. If you're trying to apply to any public college or university in the state of Texas, you will use the applytexas.org website. The next one is the common application. That's more national. So school in Chicago, you will use the common app. That's pretty much the main one for the national application. The next one is the Common Black College application. That's for your HBCUs. If you want to apply to an HBCU, this is the one you will use. And right now it's $20 and you can apply to all 60 some colleges that are listed on their website for one fee. So if you're thinking about an HBCU or your child is thinking about an HCU, look that up. And then the coalition application, I was saying earlier, this is the more detailed one. It's the big one. The coalition application is for your large state universities and your Ivy Leagues and, you know, your Michigan States, your Howards, you know, those universities, they mostly use this coalition and it's real detailed. The Quest Bridge National College Match, this is the website where if you see your big schools that require the grades, this is your Vanderbilts, your Columbias, your Yales, your Stanfords, your USCs, they match. That's what this website is for. And you'll go through there. It's both a college application and a scholarship application, because if you get accepted, what they do is they match you based on your information to the different universities, and then they'll also show you how much scholarship money is available to you if you choose to go to that school. That's what the Quest Bridge is. Quest Bridge scholars are a big thing. So if you know anybody trying to go to those, try the Quest Bridge website. Any is needed to complete any college application. Let's start over. This is where I was when you guys told me that I lost you. So all the information, if you're filling out any college information, I don't care which site you used on the previous slide, you're going to need this information. The first thing is the student's personal information, which is their legal name that is on their social security card, their date of birth, their social security number, their gender, their place of birth, and their citizenship as it goes along with the FAFSA form. You're going to need the student's contact information. That's the physical and mailing addresses. If both addresses are the same, you just need one. If your mailing address is different from the physical address where you live, then you need both. You're going to need an email address as well as a phone number. Residency of the student that's used to determine whether you will pay in-state or out-of-state tuition fees. So they'll ask you a series of questions to determine whether you would be considered an in-state student, in-state residency or out-of-state residency. And then for high school students, seniors, they want to know whether you are receiving free and reduced lunch. It all goes along with FAFSA, but this is also for the colleges where your admissions application is also used as a scholarship application for their merit scholarships. They're going to want to know if you're receiving free or reduced lunch. And then you're going to need your parent or guardian's name and contact information, their residency information, their educational attainment information, and their annual salary. And once again, all of that is based with your FAFSA form for their merit scholarships. And then you're also going to need the high school name, the address of the high school, and what grade you are in or going to at the time of applying. It'll ask you what current grade are you in or what grade will you be in the next school year. You're going to need your high school transcripts from any and all high schools you've been to. If you've only been to one, you're only going to have one. If you've been to 2 or 3 or more high schools since you've been in high school, you're going to need the transcript for everyone. And then if you're applying before school, your senior year starts or the summer before, like there are some college applications that are open now that open on August 1st, you will need your upcoming senior class schedule. Or if school's already started, you just need your senior schedule. You normally need this for the early determination admissions applications. And then also the knowledge and types of numbers of classes taken. We talked about this way back in July. Remember when I did the presentation on doing the dual credit and AP, taking those courses? This is where those come in. They're going to want to know how many regular classes you had taken, how many pre-AP classes you took, how many dual credit, dual enrollment classes you took, whether you were in a collegiate college. They want to know which type of class you've taken and how many of each. And for most of those applications, you are going to have to list them. And then it's going to be little check boxes that you have to show that this was a regular class. So you're going to ask you what year of high school you took it, what semester in that year of high school you took it. So those applications are real specific and real detailed. And then the next thing, I'm getting a connection unstable. So if I lose you, it'll come back and we'll keep going. College transcripts, they want to know how many dual credit and dual enrollment courses you take by the time you graduate high school. They're going to want to know how many hours you will have completed. And you're still going to be considered an incoming freshman, even if you took dual credit and dual enrollment courses. That goes away if you receive an associate degree along with your college diploma, your high school diploma. So if you're just taking dual credit, dual enrollment courses, they're going to want to know how many hours you're going to graduate with, but that's not going to affect your ability to get a Pell Grant. You graduated with an associate's, and that's a whole nother can of worms that you would have to talk with your school counselor or your child's counselor about. And then they're going to want to know the list of any academic honors you earned, what extracurricular activities you participated in. Did you have any leadership roles in those activities? And if there were any honors earned, they want to know what type of volunteer service you completed, if any, and how many hours. If you worked during high school or you completed any internships, they're going to want to know that information as well. And then once again, if you have a college board fee waiver code, you need to know that. And if you do receive free and reduced lunch and you do not know your college board waiver code, contact your counselor because they have that information. And like I said, you'll be able to use that. They'll tell you how many SAT tests that you can take for free. Most often it'll be 4. And then they'll tell you how many college applications that you can use and not have to pay any application fees. And a lot of times, depending on your socioeconomic status, you may need any fees at all. There may be a number, there may not. So check with that with your counselor. And then you must also be prepared to request that your high school transcript be sent to every college or university that you plan on applying to. That doesn't mean that you may necessarily go there, but if you're thinking about like that list of 10, just to be on the safe side, contact your counselor. Some of them have a form and you let them know when you list all 10 schools, and they'll just go in and shoot those out. They're not going to charge you for that. And they'll shoot those out to all 10 colleges or universities, and that information is gone. But you need to send an official transcript. You can't take the one you downloaded out of your student account for your high school. The school itself, your high school counselor has to send an official transcript. You're going to have to request an official transcript from any college or university where you worked on dual credit or dual enrollment work. Those have to be sent from the registrar's office for those colleges or whatever. Then any test scores, if you took the SAT or the ACT, when you register, it's going to ask you for the colleges or universities. You can designate where you want those scores sent to, or they'll give you a certain amount of time once your scores come back. But the TOEFL and the IELTS, those are for international students, and they're basically English language proficiency tests. Those will have to be sent to the schools as well. And then there are supplemental information that may be needed. And for most, there's going to be an overall application essay. And you'll notice when you start looking, when you're researching and they tell you, you know, SAT or ACT scores for the ones that still required or make it optional, a lot of times they'll tell you that the SAT writing part of the test is not required. And the reason being is because they have their own essay prompt that they're going to want you to answer, and they don't want you to answer both. So they'll tell you whether or not you need to complete the SAT writing if they still require it. So the overall application essay, there any additional essays that are required depending on your major. Like I said, your major itself, that department may have their own additional requirements, and they may have an essay question they want you to answer as well. Most are gonna ask for at least one letter of recommendation, but a lot of times a maximum of 3. You can submit a maximum of 3. Maybe optional, maybe required, and they'll probably be from, like, not gonna be from your aunt or your uncle. It can be from like your counselor or a teacher. You want them from somebody that academically knows you. And then a resume, you know, you have high school resumes, and then you have, you know, your job resumes. So this can go anywhere. If you're a high school student or an adult, you know, the resume may ask to be submitted as an option. And then your test scores, your ACT, SAT, TOEFL, and the IELTS. If they require them or they're optional, you may or may not want to submit those, depends on you. Then, like I said, for some degree plans and some universities, I found this out doing some research, some of them require that you submit a video telling why you feel that you are a good fit to attend that university. And they want to see who you are off of the paper. You know, potential applicants submit a video, you know, talking about themselves, why they want to go there, why they want that major, you know, to declare that major there. That I found it to be really interesting. And then a portfolio, once again, depends on your major choice. They want to see what you're good at, and that's more for your people that are artists and those type of things. And then any additional forms that the school requests. You know, like I said, A&M, they request, A&M and TCU, as a matter of fact, wanted to know, did you have any instances of academic dishonesty while you were in high school? They want to know, you know, TCU requested if you had any family members that had went there. They wanted a whole list of your, you know, your family members and how they related to you. So there may be some additional forms that the schools also want you to complete. And in those applications, the Common Core, not the Common Core, the Common Application, Apply Texas, they'll tell you what optional forms also come with those applications. So you won't just send you all these forms in the mail. When you finish those and complete those applications on the website, all that additional information and all those additional forms will pop up in there. And then self-reporting of any academic acts of dishonesty. I had never seen that until I started researching for this presentation. There are several schools that want you to self-report that. You know, I don't know if it's on your transcript or the university does anything, but they do want that. Yes, I did, Sister Thompson. That's why I was talking about the fee waiver. She was saying, did I mention that college applications can be $50? They start at $50. Some are $75, some are $100. They can go from $50 to $175. And yeah, so that's why I was saying the best thing that you can do right now is either yourself or get your parents to go to your district, like for Duncanville, go to the Nutrition Services website inside of the Duncanville ISD website, go to the Nutrition Services page, and fill out the form for free and reduced lunch. You just may get it. Try it. All they can tell you is no. But guess what happens if you do get it? If you get free and reduced lunch, you're going to get those waiver codes. And the SAT and the College Board waiver codes, those give you so many applications that you can fill out and get free, and you do not have to pay any. Well, that's true too. And that's the whole thing. We're getting there. We're getting there. But those waiver codes are wonderful, and they save you money. And yeah, you want a list of 10, but you may not apply to all 10 colleges. That's why I said pick, at the most I say, you know, you want to apply to one. You know, pick the one that you truly want to go to and apply there, but make sure you have a backup, because anything can happen. And the school can burn down, whatever. Just don't apply to one school 2 or 3. If you get those waiver codes, maybe if you don't get the waiver code, then you have to be really specific about where you want to apply. But those waiver codes come in handy when you are not tied to having to the schools that you want to apply to. Uh-oh, I clicked the wrong box. My apologies. What are the types of college applications decisions, admissions decisions? So now you have chosen your colleges, made your list, notated, you have now applied. So now you're waiting on an application admissions decision. What are those decisions? And there are several. So, and all colleges, not all colleges have all of these, what they call decision programs. So you also, like I said, you want to make sure that you know what admissions decisions that your college of choice, what they do for theirs. And the first one, this is not a college or university decision. This is taking a gap year. And this means the student has been accepted to a college or university. However, they have chosen to defer their enrollment for a school year. For whatever reason they want to take a gap year, that is their business. That's between them and their parents. But you have the deferred admission decision. Then you have what's called the early decisions. And this is also predicated on what colleges or universities offer these. And these are normally the admissions decision for students that have applied to their top dream schools, or these are your large state schools. Applying early lets the school know that the student is serious about attending, and applying early is also a factor into the student's acceptance. If you apply early, you want to go there, and they're considering that as well when they're looking at, trying to decide whether or not to accept you. So early admissions are for those students applying for scholarships offered by the college or university as well. That's one of the things where I say find out if they have their scholarships and what those deadlines are. A lot of times they want you to apply early because they're also trying to find the applicants to those students. They have to apply early. So the different types of early admissions decisions are the early decision. It's just called early decision. It says the student agrees to attend the school if accepted. Once the acceptance notification is received, the student must withdraw any other applications to other schools. Hold on, so I can see if they were already submitted. And then applications are normally submitted during the summer before the senior year or during the early fall months of the senior year, and a decision is returned within 4 to 6 weeks. So with this decision, if you decide to apply to a determination decision, you're telling them, if I get admitted here, I will not go or apply for anywhere else. If I have applied somewhere, I will immediately rescind all of those other applications. The problem with that, if you paid application fees, you have now lost that money. So you got to be careful with that one. But if it's an option, it's up to you if you want to use that. Then the next one is the early action. And this is under the admission program, the student does not have to attend the school if accepted and can apply to as many schools under the early action program as desired. An enrollment decision does not have to be made immediately and can be delayed until all acceptance letters have been received. So you see the difference between the early decision and the early action. Early decision means, yes, I'm going here, I'm not going anywhere else. If I've applied anywhere else, whatever, I want to go here. And yes, I will go here. The action says, yes, I got accepted here, but guess what? I don't have to make that decision yet. I can wait until the other universities that I applied to, get all those acceptance letters, sit down with my parents, read, figure out what's going on, make a decision. That's the difference between those two. And then early evaluation is the third one. A student can apply early to find out whether their chances for acceptance are good, fair, or poor. The application usually needs to be submitted by November, and a determination notification is sent by December or January. So the early evaluation, you have no clue whether you want to go there or not. You just want to know if you can get in. Once again, the issue there is you may be out of money if you decided you don't want to go there. So with the early admissions decisions, these are the ones where you're trying to go and you don't know whether or not you want to get in, or you know you want to go, but you have made the choice to say, hey, I want to apply to these schools. And if I get in, I'm not going anywhere else. Or if I get in, I'm gonna compare this acceptance to, another acceptance, or hey, I just want to know if I can get in. It doesn't matter if I go or not. So you have to determine what your mindset is when you're applying to these schools and what you want to do if you get accepted. Then the next decision is an open admissions, normally for your community colleges, your online schools, and your distance learning programs. That means that anybody that applies to these schools, as long as you have or can present a GED, general education diploma, you will get accepted. And that's fine. You know, just because it's open admissions doesn't mean it's not a good school. It just means that they believe that everybody deserves a shot at getting a college education. So they're not going to tie the, your normal admission stuff to their decision. You apply, you get in. Regular admissions. This is the most common application decision for four-year colleges and universities. All students must submit their applications by a specific date, usually between November and January, and then the admission board then reviews all the applications and sends out an acceptance and rejection letters on the same date. So it doesn't matter when you apply, as long as you get it in by the deadline. They're going to take everybody's applications, the board's going to get together, they're going to come up with decisions, and everybody, whoever gets accepted is going to get their letter, and whoever gets rejected is going to get their letter, and everything's going to happen on the same time. That's, once again, these are your larger universities, your state schools, those type of things. And then rolling admissions, which is what a lot of universities are starting to do now. And these are common at your large state universities as well. The schools that provide rolling admissions allow students to apply at any time during the school's designated admissions period, which is typically from September through July. The school then evaluates each application as they are received and sends acceptance letters to accept the school's admissions requirements. Since admissions is granted on a first come, first served basis, students should submit their applications as early as possible. UTD does rolling admissions. University of Cincinnati does rolling and regular admissions. And basically what they're saying is, hey, this is first come, first serve. Once all of we chose our number of whatever kids that we're going to let in. Once that number is filled, it's done. So if you want to go here, you're thinking about going here, get your application in early. That's what it is. And those are your decisions. And if y'all have any questions on any of this, put it in the chat box. And when we get to the Q&A, I'll answer them. But those are the different admissions decisions. And so now you've been admitted. So the next question is, how will you pay for college? Because college is expensive. I don't care where you go, college is expensive now. The first option, and this is the option that mostly everybody chooses, is going to be the free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA form. And what is the FAFSA form? The free application for federal student aid form is used to apply for federal and state financial aid for undergraduate or graduate school students. FAFSA provides over 13 million students with nearly 150 billion in student aid every year. So everybody that's going to college, unless your family has deep pockets, you will be filling out a federal financial aid form, and that's what this form is. And we'll go through financial aid for the class of 2021 to go to school for the fall of 2021 is not open yet. So I've taken some screenshots, and we'll see what the form looks like as far as I can go. And so it says how to complete the FAFSA application. That's what we're getting ready to show you. The first thing that you have to have is a federal ID for your FAFSA form. And that's the link. And if you want to write it down right now, I've also put the links to all the applications and this ID form in the chat box. So just scroll up and you can get it there. But every student will need a FAFSA ID to fill out a form. It says the student will need to also provide a phone number and an email address. That needs to be a valid phone number and a valid email address, just in case any questions that need to be answered, they can get in touch with you. And this is where we're talking about the names. You have to use the name on your FAFSA form that is printed on your Social Security card, because they're using your Social Security number for a lot of this. And that Social Security number is going to be in conjunction with your FAFSA ID number. And if your name that you put on your FAFSA form and basically your college application does not match letter for letter what's on your Social Security card, it's going to cause so many problems, and it's going to hold up their determination of how much aid you can get. They're going to send you a letter and say there is a problem. Your name does not match what the Social Security Administration has on file for you. Now you have to send in all this paperwork. So just to avoid all of that, even if it's not a name that you go by, whatever name is on your Social Security card, use that name to fill out your FAFSA form as well as your college application. A huge headache in the long run. What we're chatting. No, they can't get their application fees returned. We'll talk about that in just a second. No, if you apply to college and you pay your application fee, if you don't get in or you choose not to go, you just blown that money. That's why it's kind of like you need to make a decision what you want to do. You don't have to apply to all 10 colleges. Just make a list of 10 and then choose who you want to apply to from there. But that's the thing. If you don't have a fee waiver code that lets you apply to unlimited colleges, you need to make a decision where you want to apply to, because yes, you will be application fees if you don't have a waiver code, and you will not get that money back. They don't return the fees if you choose not to go, or they deny you. Either way, you spent that money. That's a revenue. That's a money maker for them. College fees are really just a revenue generator. And so now back to the FAFSA. The FAFSA ID will be used to conduct any task pertaining to the student's federal student ID. So when you create your FAFSA ID, keep that safe and secure in a place that you can get back to, because once you create that ID, that's going to be what you're going to be using to fill out your application forms from here forward, your student financial aid forms. What you're going to use to sign your promissory has to do with financial aid. That financial ID is going to be used, that FAFSA ID will be used to sign it, because it's better than having to send you to sign all of these documents. You can just use your ID to electronically sign. And so the information that you need to get together to get ready to prepare to fill out your financial aid forms are your student, your date of birth and social security number, your parent's social security number if you're considered a dependent. If your parents filed you on their 2019 taxes and you are considered a dependent, you need to use their information on your financial aid form, or your 2020, if your parents filed you as a dependent on their 2020 taxes. I apologize, not 2019, but 2020. You are a dependent, you will need to use their information. You're gonna need that previous year's tax return. Kids is gonna be the 2020 taxes. And you will need the parent information if that student is considered a dependent and was claimed on somebody else's tax form. Any untaxed income information, as child support, interest income, veterans non-education benefits, and parents information if that student is a dependent. Also information on cash, savings, checking account balances, investments, stocks and bonds, real estate, all of that information. You're gonna need that for yourself if you're an adult, or if you're a high school senior, or can be claimed as a dependent, you need that information for your parent or guardians. And then once you have that information, you also need high school name and address, and then the college and university FAFSA codes. And you can find that in one or two places. Every college or university has a FAFSA code. And when you go in, because it's going to ask you where you want this financial aid information sent to, it's going to ask you for that code, or it's going to have you put the name in and then the code is going to pop up. So you can do one or two things. You can use the search box in the financial form, or you can go on Google and find out what the FAFSA code is, because the code is it's going to be wherever you find that number, that university that's the only number that applies to that university. You can Google these numbers or admissions page on the university's website. They may tell you what their FAFSA code is. And so you'll use that to list the colleges and universities that you want your information to be sent to. And then here's the page. This is the FAFSA. Once you've gotten your FAFSA ID, you're going to go here to complete the FAFSA form. And as it says, the application for the class of 2021 will open on October 1st. And so I couldn't go through and show you, on here in my presentation, because the form is not open for them and I didn't want to mess up anything for my daughter. But this is the website, studentaid.gov, and you can really just go to studentaid.gov and click right here under apply aid, and it'll take you to the same page. But that's the direct link right there at the bottom. And that's in the chat box if you want to see it. There are two different preparation methods. You have a student login if the student chooses to want to apply themselves, or if a parent or another preparer wants to do it for them, fill out the application. So there are two different logins. And you can just see the differences. One is going to require the student to put their FAFSA ID in there. And then the other one, if the parent does it, is going to require to put the student's name and their social security number. And then once you log in there and hit next, the next page is going to come up with a disclaimer saying that you are who you are and you agree to be honest and everything and honest and true, and you just click next because you can't get through it without clicking I agree, and it takes you to the next form. So once you accept the disclaimer, you're gonna go to this next page right here, and the FAFSA form is 8 pages, and all 8 pages are listed right here. The first form is the demographics. That's where all of that information, your student, you know, residence, address, email address, phone number, date of birth, social security number, all of that's going to be put in the student demographics, you know, race, you know, gender, all of that stuff is there. Then the next thing you're going to do is the school selection, and you can enter. That's why I said create a list of 10 lists up to 10 schools to have your financial aid information sent to. That doesn't mean that you're going to apply to all 10, but you can have up to 10 schools. FAFSA send federal student aid, send your financial information to 10 schools to have on hand should you choose to apply. Then the next thing is going to be dependency status. This is where you're going to answer a series of questions, and then it's going to determine whether or not you will be considered a dependent of someone else's, and whether or not the parent demographics and the parent financials are going to be required for you to complete. So that dependency status page determines whether or not you're going to complete the parent demographics, parent financials, and the student financials. If the past FAFSA will populate a parent's influence. You know what though? They actually can now, Sister Thompson. What they do, because I did it for mine when I was working on my doctorate. I was able to import my my actual tax information. What they'll do is, if you know, like say you used one of the tax services, or you know your username, and as you know, it basically requires a username and password, and it'll ask you who you use. Say you use H&R Block or something like that. You'll put your username and password in, and it will import that information if you have it. If you don't have it, then yeah, you need a copy of your taxes, because everybody may not know their username and password for H&R Block or whatever. But if you have that username and password, I said they did it in the past, you misunderstood. Oh, okay, yeah, I did. I thought you said if they would populate. Yeah, in the past it would populate, but you would have to know your username and password, and that's good to know, but some people don't, so that's why I didn't mention it. But that's a good caveat. If you know and you filled in and you know your username and password from say H&R Block or one of the other ones, you will put that information in, and it will pull your tax forms from the IRS for you, and you don't even have to worry about inputting this information. And then after you go through all the financial documents and all of that, the next thing you will do is review, sign, and submit. And then they will send you a confirmation email, and it's a waiting game after that, because they'll send you. It just depends on when if you do it on October 1st, you may find something out by January, but don't, you know, next week, oh my God, I need to find out what they sent me, because what they're going to do is they're going to go through and look at everything, and they're going to determine how much money you're qualified for, and they're going to send you an email that lists everything, and then that information is also going to be sent to the schools. But they're not going to tell you, hey, you're going to get this amount of money. They're just going to show you what you're qualified for, but they're not going to send you going to the university. So if you apply to the university, then that's where that money is going to go. Nothing is going to land in your hands. It's all going to the registration department, the bursar department. Even if you file them yourself and mail them in, FAFSA will populate info from IRS. Good to know. Did not know that. I haven't filled out a form because that is good to know. I did not know that. Thank you. She says, even if you file them yourselves and mail them in, FAFSA will populate info from the IRS. And I think they're doing that because they know it's hard for people to find this stuff, and it's more accurate information. You know, let's just call it what it is. It's accurate information. Now, what is the Texas application for state financial aid, or the TASFA form? The TASFA is for students who are classified as Texas residents, but who are not applying for federal financial aid using the FAFSA form. They are encouraged to complete the TASFA. The Texas application for state financial aid collects information to help determine eligibility for state or institutional financial aid programs administered by institutions of higher education in the state of Texas. I'm pretty sure that every state has their own version of TASFA, but we're in Texas, so I'm address Texas. So for those students who cannot apply for federal aid because of their citizenship status, they can apply for Texas aid. to go to school in Texas. And that's where the TASPA form comes in. And this is what it looks like. If you were to see the paper form of the FAFSA, it looks just like this. This is a form that you can go to. It has the same 8 pages as the FAFSA, but it's a PDF, fill-in PDF. That's what the gray forms, I screenshotted. But all of those gray forms, you can go in and type it in, click what you need to, go through the pages, and then you will save it and you will submit it. So the TASPA is just basically Texas's version of the FAFSA. And so now we have some financial aid myths coming from the financial aid website. It says the financial aid is based on income alone. That's the first myth. The more money someone makes means that they will not qualify for aid. Well, according to federal student aid, every person qualifies for some form of financial aid. Factors such as the number in the home, the year in school, and grades factor in as well as income. So, you know, yeah, mom and dad may make a bunch of money and you think that you may not apply, you can't get financial aid. You can get it, it just may be loans and not grants. But they're not saying you can't get it, it just may not be what you want it to be. And then myth number 2, only students with good grades will get financial aid. Well, according to the federal student aid website, most federal aid programs do not factor grades into their first application submission. Once aid is awarded, grades by way of satisfactory academic progress is factored into aid awards by maintaining a minimum GPA. So yeah, they're not looking at your grades. I've never had to submit grades when I submitted a FAFSA form, but once you get that aid and it gets to the university, they're gonna require you to keep a minimum GPA so you do not go on financial aid probation. Because if you miss that more than once, then you lose your financial aid and you have to pay out of pocket and then pass those classes and reapply, and then you get your financial aid reinstated. So it's just a whole can of worms, but it doesn't, your first time applying for financial aid is not grade-based. It's not merit-based. And then the third myth, a student has to wait until they are accepted into a school before applying for financial aid. Fact is, a student can apply for financial aid as early as October of their senior year. At least one college or university must be listed to receive the student's information. That's where that 10 list comes from. And then the form allows up to 10 schools to be listed to receive aid for information. So even though you don't know where you want to apply, that list of 10 helps you. And you'll eventually narrow that down if you don't have a waiver code. And so you can send that out, but you don't have to wait and get accepted, because sometimes it may be too late. October 1st every year is when the financial aid form opens. And if you know you need to apply, go in and apply on that day. And then the fourth myth is there is only one FAFSA deadline. Fact is, there are 3 FAFSA deadlines. You have a state deadline, you have a school deadline, and you have the federal deadline. Students must research their state deadline and their deadline for their school of choice. Oh my goodness, I have a typo, look at there. The FAFSA deadline is always posted on the federal state aid website, so you don't have to worry about when that is. They'll tell you when you're applying, it'll let you know this is the last day that you can apply. But the schools, your school of choice, and then the state has different deadlines. You will find the state deadline on the federal student aid website as well. But the school deadline, you have to go to each individual colleges and look on their financial aid. Excuse me, I'm getting sleepy. The financial aid website on the school's direct page, and find out what those individual schools' deadline dates are. But once again, apply on October 1st and you don't have to worry about any of that. Covers all 3. And so here are my references. We are at the end. If anybody has any questions, let me know. We are at the Q&A section. If I don't see any questions, that means I did a pretty good job. But does anybody have any questions? Or Sister Thompson, you've had 3 kids go through this. What are some other tips that you may have? Sheila, what are some tips that you may have? You've had children go through this. And you can type them, or if you want to speak, you can do either one. But that is it. Like I said, I wanted to do a live form, but because the forms are not open and I didn't want to mess with my daughter's information, I chose to do screenshots. And then there are way too many college applications. I would have run out of time. So that's the gist of it. This is information that regardless to which application you use, what university you're trying to go to, or college or community college you're trying to go to, whether you're filling out, oh, you gave your tips, well, thank you very much. Which form you're filling out for financial aid. This presentation was for the basics. Now, there's any specific questions you have, say you have a specific situation that needs to be addressed, you can do one or two things, if not both. You can speak with your high school counselor, and you can contact the financial aid department at the university that you're trying to go to. And they will tell you what you need to do if you have specific situations. I mean, there are some kids whose parents are in the military, so there are forms for that as well. So if you have a specific life situation going on that is outside of the realm of this basic information that I've presented, then you need to talk to either your school counselor and or the college financial aid department at the college or university that you're trying to go to, and they'll tell you specifically what forms you need to fill out and when they need to be submitted. But I'll keep going. If I see any questions, I'll answer them. If not, we did pretty good. I still have about 21 minutes left. I am not making your brain hurt, Sheila. I'm just giving you information. It is a lot, but it's one of those, if you don't know, you don't know, and knowing, like they say, what G.I. Joe say, knowing is half the battle. These college application forms, I mean, just doing them with my daughter, they are brain draining. You think that you may spend 15 minutes, yeah, I'm gonna fill this out. You find out, I have an hour and a half, Sister Thompson. I need an hour and a half for tonight, so I got some time. It's not gonna close on me, because I knew this was going to take a minute. So I requested an hour and a half and they gave it to me. I still have 21 minutes to go. But filling out college applications is an intensive thing, and it will fry your brain, but it is so rewarding when your kids get those application letters. I've been through it 4 times, 4 degrees, and it is still rewarding when they say, congratulations, you have been accepted too. So it's worth it, but you want to make sure that you are doing it correctly, and that you're putting the correct information in, that everything is being submitted. Because the one thing about college applications, they're not submitted and they're not considered complete. They have the statuses, once you submit an application and you can log in and see what your status is, it's not going to even be reviewed until your initial status says complete. And complete means your application has been, the transcripts, the official transcripts have been received, any additional supplemental forms have been received. Until the university gets all of that information, then your application is not even considered complete. And if it's not all found and gotten before that initial deadline, like say you're trying to get an early determination, which may be like say December 1st, and if they don't get everything by December 1st, your application is still not complete, and now you're trying to scramble and figure out what happened. So there's time, so you have to coordinate, especially if you need letters of recommendation. You have to coordinate with people, who can I ask, who can my child ask to write a letter of recommendation. If you need more than one, you got to contact 3 people, or if you need to do a resume and don't have one created already, if you don't know how to do one, you have to get someone to do it for you, help you create one. If they're looking and asking for academic acts of dishonesty and you have them, there's a lot that go into completing college applications. So I wanted to do this presentation just from what I've had to go through and what I know some other people have had to go through, just for myself and helping my daughter, just to help out. Every little bit helps. And so what's coming up next? Oh, wait, I have a little quote, because I've been seeing this on the internet and it drives me nuts. And I don't know if it drives y'all nuts, but I get really tired of seeing the memes that say you can still have a bachelor's degree and be an idiot. That is true. However, and this is just my opinion, and this is my quote: seeking higher education is more than just taking classes, participating in extracurricular activities, and getting a degree. Seeking higher education is about revealing the knowledge as to who you are at the very basic level of understanding. And I'm saying human understanding and life understanding. If, when admitting to that truth and that knowledge taken seriously, seeking higher education can lead to opening up a life map to reveal who you can become at the most advanced level of understanding. So my 2 points are this: higher education equips you with the tools to excel in life. So when I see those memes where they say, you know, a degree is nothing but a piece of paper you for 4 years and still be an idiot, well, that means that you didn't take those 4 years seriously. And so me, I have 4 degrees and I took all 15 years seriously. To me, working on a degree was working on me. I'm investing in myself. If I'm going to go broke doing anything, I'm going to go broke investing in myself. And all of my degrees mean something. And I'm not going to let somebody degrade or, you know, people kill me when they call me a college girl and I'm supposed to be offended by it. I'm like, okay, thank you. Yes. So I try to, you know, when I tell my daughter and I talk to her about those things, stop paying attention to the people that don't have them. Because to me, the people that don't have them, that the reason you didn't get a degree, that's fine. That's up to you, but don't degrade me for wanting to have one, and don't degrade me for having more than one. So those memes are starting to pop up everywhere and they're driving me nuts. And so this is my opinion to that. Higher education teaches you, going to college, it teaches you how to find yourself. When you go off to college, you're not at home with mom and dad anymore. So you have to learn, you mature really quick to be professional. We've had that presentation. You learn to figure out who you are and you find your purpose. My Black Panther just passed, but one of his things that he always said is that he knew going to Howard that he found his life purpose. And graduating from Howard, he compared everything to what he was like. You know, some things he was in conflict with because it wasn't the Howard standard. So when I send my daughter off to UTD, she's going to learn a UTD standard, you know, our college standard, and I hope that she applies that to life. Is this a standard that I was taught to set for myself in college? You know, how serious you take college is up to you. If you go to college and spend $60,000 and blow $60,000 and don't come out no smarter, no mature, no more professional than when you enroll, that's on you. That's not on the college. You know, so that's my opinion to that. Seeking higher education is more than taking classes. It's more than getting a degree. A degree is a piece of paper, but it's that value you put on getting that associate's or getting that bachelor's or getting that master's or getting that doctorate. That's what means everything in the world. Your value. It doesn't matter what anybody else values. As long as you value your degree, that's all that matters. And that is my soapbox for tonight. I know I went off there, but you guys know my passion for every education, and I got that from my mother. Watching my mother go to school, and she is one of the most smartest people I know, and I know she's over there smiling. Stick your chest out, mama. But I got my love of education from watching my mother's love for education, and that's what I'm trying to instill in my daughter. And so when we see things and read things, I always tell her, you blow that off. It's what the value you put on your degree. You know, don't listen to people who are paying other people. I don't understand how you pay somebody to take a college class from you and then you get a degree with your name on it. And the first thing you want to say is, this degree didn't help me get nothing. You actually didn't earn the degree. You paid for somebody else to get a degree on your dime. You know, so it is what it is. Thank you. But yeah, so yes, my mother is one of the most smartest. That is, shut up, Sheila. It may not sound correct, but you understood what I said. I got my passion and my love of education from my mother, and I hope my daughter gets her love and passion for education from me. That's what I want to be, an educational role model for my child. So what's coming up next week? I have 15 minutes, or roughly 14 and a half. What's coming up next Thursday? All of my presentations from here on out are on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Yay! School starts next Tuesday. So I was asked to do this by Naquisha, by Coach Campbell, so that her kids can watch this. I will be doing an athletic recruiting process presentation for NCAA D1 and D2 and NAIA D1 and D2. NCAA D3 does not give athletic scholarships. We'll address it, but I'm more concerned about the athletic recruiting process for students getting athletic scholarships. And if y'all did not hear today, the NCAA has pretty much laid off their executive board and they took a pay cut. COVID, people keep saying COVID doesn't exist, but it does, and there is no revenue coming in at the collegiate level for sports right now. So the NCAA, for the first time ever in the history of them opening their doors, have laid off all of their employees, and all of their executive board took a pay cut to make sure that the doors don't close and that they still have a leadership cast in place, but they laid off all of their employees today. So that's going to be next week's presentation. Granted, hoping the NCAA is still in existence next Thursday. But my contact information, as always, Dr. Bridget King, resident educator, email 800educatorbridget@ticommunities.com, and then facebook.com, Dr. Bridget M. King, EDD, and chat box. If you have not done it already, click the survey link so it will open up in your browser. So when I close this out, you will have the link. And then if you need any links to any of the websites, email me and I'll send you the links, or I'll send you a copy of the presentation. Or if you give me an hour, this whole entire presentation will be loaded up to my YouTube page, and you can go back and watch this presentation and all of the other presentations I have done since day one. They're all loaded in there. I should have put a link to there on where I did not even think about that. But it's youtube.com. I'll send a link to you guys because it's a long link. I didn't get to do a what they call a custom link because I refuse to pay for YouTube. So I'll send everybody the link if you want to see all my other past presentations. Next week I'll have, but I want to thank you all. I have 10 minutes and I don't want to run over. Did anybody, before I close anything out, did anybody have any conversation, any questions? I still have a little time before we have to do anything. Sister Thompson gave us all of her wisdom. Thank you, Mother. Sheila gave us the wisdom she knows. I know Sierra and Makia are soaking all of this in. I really appreciate you guys. Where's who? Oh, your wisdom? Sheila's funny. Oh, where's the link? Scroll. Oh, you didn't get the link. Hold on, Sheila. Let me give it to you. I apologize. I forgot you. You may not see it because it may not be at the top for you. Here it is right here. I'll repost it. There's the link. I tell you guys from last couple of weeks, they're now wanting you all to fill out a survey form for me. And the unit, the event name is filling out college and FAFSA form. The community is 800 link. The pillars are going to be community and education, community building and education. They're always the same ones basically every week. And then my unit number, which is my door number, is 707 phase 1. So the event name is filling out college and FAFSA form. The community name is 800 link. The pillars that they're going to ask you, you're going to check the, I just gave you the link. Look in the, oh, hold on, you guys. There we go. It was posting, I see now, I see what happened. It's posting privately. I don't know how that happened either. That looked like some weird setting. Sierra, did you get that? I just sent it to everybody. The link is right there. I just realized that it was posting privately, which is weird. But the link is there. Does everybody see the link now? My apologies. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, so go in and fill out the form. If you didn't fill it out for last week, you can fill it out for last week as well. If you need that information, text me and let me know and I'll send it out to you. But you have your hand up. Oh, Sheila, do you have your hand up? Did you have a question? Or is that by mistake? What's your, oh, you do see it? Okay. Sheila, do you have a question? You hit the raise hand thing. Or did you, or was it, okay, so you didn't have one. Or were you looking for the link? Okay, the link is there. But yeah, so they're requesting now that you guys fill out that form. Tell me how I did. If you want to see any specific topics, presentations on any topics, let them know and they'll let me know, or you let me know and I'll get them done. You know, I have to come up with education topics once a week, every week. Just some things that we're getting ready to do here in the complex. On the 18th, we have Hispanic Heritage Month on Facebook Live. You may or may not want to come to that. That's going to be fine. But on September 22nd on Facebook Live, we are doing a TI Communities wide voter registration drive. And myself and another resident professional named Matthew, we are both in charge of that. We were basically designated because we're the only two that are trying to register people to vote. So we've both been asked to head that presentation. So I will be doing a presentation on the voting requirements for the state of Texas, the state of Illinois, and the state of Nevada. That's just the three that I chose. And then I'm also going to be doing a presentation on the history of voting in the United States, history of overall voting, electoral college, minority voting, women voting, the dates and all that type of stuff. So if you guys, I'll get the link once they get it all posted and everything. It's still, they're getting everything set up. It's in the planning stages, but we're going to do that on September 22nd. It's the TI Communities Voter Registration Event or something they're calling like that. But yes, I will be doing 2 presentations. I think one at 1 o'clock and then one at 4 o'clock on 2 different topics. I'll let y'all know later on about that here in the coming days. So if you want to watch that just to support, because y'all know about voting and everything. But we're doing that for the TI residents. It's all part of educating our residents. And so we're going to be doing the TI wide and then getting some people to register. Texas is the only state in the TI communities where the citizens can't register to vote online, but all the rest of us can. So we're going to be teaching them how to go online to the Rock the Vote website and get registered to vote. For Texas, I have to, tell you, hey, you got to find me or something to get registered. But we'll be teaching them all how to go online and register themselves to vote and stuff like that. But if there is no other questions and anything, I am done talking. I appreciate you all. Hope to see you next week. School starts next week. So once again, I'm now on Thursday nights at 7. I won't be doing any more afternoon because I'm trying to make the best time for parents and kids, and then I've had one of Sierra's teachers has asked me to post a link so she can send it to the kids for them to watch as well, which is really cool. So all of my presentations for here forward or for further note, for foreseeable future will be on Thursday nights at 7. But if there's, if nobody has any questions, and that's all, I'm 6 minutes out before this ends anyway. I want to say thank you, appreciate you, love you all. And until next week, I will see you later. Bye-bye.